Now, of course, being Jewish, Groucho Marx never celebrated Christmas, but he was certainly not adverse to poking fun at it, as he did with so many other things, being an incredibly talented comedian and performer. But you've got to remember that the primary driver of talent is intelligence. So, with that in mind, I'm going to do what I've done for many years now with my intelligence. That is, assuming I still have some remaining. As far as the Christmas thing goes, I'm sticking with Groucho. Folks, this is my special holiday shopping season episode. It even has some special instructions for vegetarians and vegans. And I guarantee you've never heard a proposal quite like this before. You see, what I'm proposing to do is replace Christmas with a much better holiday. I simply ask that you give me the courtesy of hearing me out before you decide to tar and feather me or lock me away in a mental institution and throw away the key. Now, I want you people to know I put a lot of thought into this because you can't propose replacing the worldwide Super Bowl conjoined twins of capitalism, the dynamic duo of hypocrisy and contradiction, and the unquestioned king of the incestuous relationship between commerce and religion, Christmas. So, bearing all that in mind, this is the name I came up with. Are you ready? Drum roll, please. Angels and Assholes Day. Kind of catchy, don't you think? Okay, let me explain how this new proposed holiday works. First, about the name. The angels part has nothing to do with mystical celestial beings. It simply means a really good person. So, right off the bat, we've thrown any religious connection right out the damn window, which is really good because that way you won't feel any necessity to throw any of your religious relatives out the damn window when you get together. The second part of the name, I believe, should be pretty self explanatory because most of us already know what an asshole is. There's nothing ambiguous. And with this new holiday, if you've been an asshole throughout the year, you will definitely know it. More on that in a bit. Now, one of several beauties of this new holiday is that if you want, you can still buy someone a gift. There is certainly nothing wrong with that, unless the person is an asshole. And the one very hard line rule about this new holiday is that assholes never receive gifts. The only other small caveat is that you never wrap any gift in official Christmas paper because Christmas paper is not only an extra expense, but it produces hundreds of tons of landfill material every year, which is bad. And this is something which should appeal to all those many green, hippie type, save the whales, save the snails, tofu eating, Birkenstock wearing, ethically and spiritually conscious creatures out there. Not to mention the fact that with all that money saved, that will allow them to purchase a lot more weed because one has to have their priorities in order, don't they? Man. Okay, so where the hell was I? Oh, yes, hippies and weed. So, if you are an angel, you can still buy presents. But if you can't afford presents, you could cook a really good meal. And if you can't afford a really good meal, you could cook a half assed lousy meal. And that's totally all right. Because if you're broke and you can't afford a really good meal, there's no pretense. Because everybody knows you're fucking broke. But at least you made an effort. But if you're not broke, but only put in a half-assed effort, people will notice that too, and you will deservedly be put into the asshole category. Now, very briefly, before I go into those explanations, if you're enjoying this episode, please do subscribe and hit that notification bell so you won't miss an episode. Because with the more subscriptions I get, the more people will get to experience a very different perspective on subjects such as this. Now, before I go into the asshole category and defining exactly what that means, there is a subcategory that, although relatively small, still deserves descriptive attention. I'm talking specifically about vegetarians and vegans. If you are a relatively normal person and you, like myself, are an omnivore, it's entirely possible that you will encounter creatures known as vegetarians and vegans. You'll usually smell them from a good distance, as they typically douse themselves with dragon blood or patchouli oil, both of which I find repugnant to the point of triggering spontaneous projectile vomiting from even 20 feet away. And I speak from personal experience. Regardless, if you're hosting a nice dinner that you have spent several hours creating, I suggest taking some anti-nausea medication and try to be sympathetic. Generally speaking, try to keep in mind that these creatures exist in an alternative universe where electricity is evil, bathing and hair management is optional, and apparently they cannot grasp the concept that animals are in fact for eating, and humans have done so, well, for as long as there's been humans. Regardless of how pitiful they may seem, do not attempt to engage with them in any rational dialogue. The best thing you can do is try to corral them into an area for themselves where they can enjoy their hummus and tofu and bean curd. Finally, I would also suggest that the area you corral them into have a window that can be opened, and preferably with a ventilation fan, which will help to mitigate the stench of the dragon blood and patchouli oil, not to mention the cloud of marijuana smoke from the 40 or 50 joints they will be smoking per hour. I will close this with a general descriptive definition of those that have been classified as assholes. As I stated previously, this term is pretty much self-explanatory, but what is needed to be explained here are the consequences of being an asshole for this new holiday. Just as there are positive consequences of being an angel, meaning you can attend or be invited to the special holiday dinner, in this case, it is the time when acquaintances, friends, or family wish to give the asshole a message, a very clear and unambiguous message, that you have been uncaring, disrespectful, and or a complete pain in the ass for at least the last 12 months. In simple summary, an asshole. Now, how the angels choose to convey that message to the assholes is something I consider another absolute beauty of my new proposed holiday. The only absolute rule is that nothing is to be done to any asshole by the angels that would seriously threaten life or limb. It is intended to be something so absolutely humiliating, so degrading, they will never forget it for the rest of their lives. So, angels, this is the time to let your payback creativity shine. Remember, angels, the purpose of the payback treatment to the asshole is to change the behavior of the asshole, And by the asshole reflecting on why that treatment happened to them, and if they are capable of any level of introspection or actually give a damn about how their being an asshole has hurt other people, they will change their behavior and sincerely apologize. And if they don't, you don't want to be around them or have them around in any way whatsoever in the future. Because the only thing worse than an asshole is an unrepentant repeat asshole. And with all that, all I can say is happy angels and assholes day. Until next time, this is Ernest, and that's all I've got for today.